Welcome back to Good Moms, Bad Choices.
I'm Erica.
And I'm Mila.
And it is September, y'all. Happy September.
Happy September.
September 1st, to be exact. It's actually the 1st of September. Wow.
Wow. And this month's theme is Back to School September.
Back to school September because bitches gotta learn.
Back to school, and we ain't talking about our kids.
Wait, do you remember that song? Did you ever hear that song? I'm a read, I'm a read, I'm a read. I'm a read, I'm a read. No?
No.
It was like, oh my God, it was like the best song, like club gay song ever.
Okay, well,
But you know, I'm a read, we gotta outro the song with that, this episode with that.
You're really getting really spicy right now.
I'm a read, I'm a read, I'm a read.
Wow, for me being a former lesbian that was highly into the gay community, I don't recall the I'm a read song.
Your musical taste wasn't up to par, that's why. I was with the house druggy gays. Maybe you were just with the lesbians.
No, I was with
the male gays.
No, I was with the male gays and the lesbians, but I was in the dirty South.
Oh, true. I was in LA. We were on a Rhonda and like weird warehouse parties.
I was in a warehouse, but it was very ratchet.
This is white people.
Ratchet.
I was doing white people shit.
I prefer the ratchet gays. I'm not gonna lie. In fact, when I moved back to LA and tried to be gay again, I was like, it would confirm that I was gonna be straight. I hated it. I was like, this is not my thing. Anyway. After a flashback into our former kind of gay lives.
Yes, this month we wanted to focus on all the things we don't know. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of those things. I know you guys think we're geniuses. I know.
Surprise!
I know you think that we are bona fide PhD holders, but surprise! Don't know shit. Just kidding. I know a lot, but got a lot more to learn.
I mean, we're experts in threesomes.
Shut up.
Cannabis and mushrooms and three-way kisses. But other than that, we do have some learning to do.
We are actually recording in Costa Rica right now, still. Well, not still, but yes, we're in Costa Rica.
It's actually our final night. We only have hours until we leave.
Yeah, we're leaving at 5:30 in the morning, and it is 9:56 p.m. This feels like the old times where we would record like at 11 p.m. and release it at 7 a.m.
And be up until 2, trying to figure it out.
Trying to figure out like why the audio won't sync to the video and all that bullshit.
It does. And also, I don't know, it's something about it feeling that way and it being late at night. It even though it's not true, it makes me feel like less people are going to hear it. Like, it's more of this...
No. Those days are done.
I know. Unfortunately. Do you have any affirmations for us this evening? Or morning or afternoon, wherever you're catching this?
My affirmation for this week is... I am always a student of life.
I am always a student of life. Oh boy, isn't that shit true? We've been traveling for 10 days with our children. And obviously we've traveled with our children before, but I feel like this time is a little bit different because, I don't know, it's been a long trip and they're like a little bit older now. Mm-hmm. So like, I'm realizing that more, the things that they say, their memories, the words that they use, it's like, oh shit, this is like a real little human. And it's like a really apparent how different we all are.
Well, because their personalities are really shining through, and some of the things that they're like working through are shining through, and it's blowing my mind.
It really is. It's like beautiful, but also it's scary. I'm like, damn, like, is this like a preface to teenage years, like preteen years, just like how they act? Luna told me today, my back broke out. I must have leaned up against something. She's like, you must be allergic to the fabric. I was like, why does she know these combination of words?
Combination of words.
are you? Wow, you're so smart. You're probably right. Yeah, but it's been really challenging. It's been beautiful and blissful and like such a beautiful trip to say, like, last time we were here, we're like, we're going to bring our kids back. And then we bring them back, and it's like, we did that shit. But it has been challenging. Like, I have very short patience. Kids make a lot of noise, a lot of unnecessary loud noises, and I'm really working through that.
You're learning? Is that what you're learning this month?
I'm learning, like, children make noise. It's not their fault. But it has been challenging. I've learned a lot on this trip. And you know what? I don't know, there's something about this September 2021 that feels like something is shifting ever since that moon
in Lionsgate,
the Lionsgate moon. Like, I felt the shift there, but like I really feel the shift now. I really feel like this next 6 months I have to be dedicated to committing to the change that I say I'm going to make. And it just feels, I feel really called to do that in a lot of ways. We're here like making our plans for our retreat in February, finalizing shit, and as we're curating this beautiful experience, I'm just like, wow, this is responsibility, you know? We're like embarking on this journey of wellness, and obviously we keep it real every week, and that's our thing, but it's just, I'm noticing there's a lot of work that I have to do on myself, and even if it doesn't feel great, I have to do it. Like, I don't know, before I left, I was in like a mini relationship that I didn't exactly plan for. And I also really knew that it probably wasn't the relationship for me. There were some red flags very early on that we were very different people. But despite all of that, I went towards the red light because my favorite color is red. And the night of the Lionsgate, I made I was doing like a ritual in the bathtub with Luna, and I literally asked for the things that no longer served me to be removed. And literally while I was in the bathtub, this person like looked through my phone and like found some shit that really wasn't some shit, and literally I have not talked to him since.
The universe was like, and cut. Scene.
It's not funny, I was sad.
I'm not laughing, but I'm just saying the universe said, like,
I know.
You asked for this and you shall receive, bitch. That's what it
I
said.
know. And I was like, it was jarring, but also like, God damn, universe, bitch, relax. Give me a 10-day notice. But I've been reflecting on that since I've been here because literally as I started to like this person, in my mind I was like, this is a test. I told myself, like, this may be a test because this person is kind of like telling you he's probably not the person for you because we just have a lot of differences. And yeah, just, I don't know how to say.
So you're ready to learn your lesson, essentially.
Essentially, I'm ready to learn my lessons and like listen to my intuition when I know that my intuition is correct. And then maybe, just maybe, I'll prevent myself from learning these difficult lessons in advance instead of 8 months later and being sad in Costa Rica because he hasn't called me.
Have you been sad?
A little bit.
You don't ever say anything.
I'm sad. I'm a Cancer. I'm sad inside alone.
I'm sorry, friend.
I know.
I mean, I know we've talked about it, but I didn't realize. I mean, obviously, I know it's probably on your mind, but you haven't mentioned it much.
No, I mean, because I know. So my lesson, even before I left, is that I need to listen to my intuition and just my overall attachment to things that sometimes don't feel great, but only maybe feel somewhat good. And just my attachment to things that distract me instead of focusing on myself and doing the work to commit to myself, so that in the future when things come up that probably don't serve me, it's easy to eliminate them because I have done the work, and I know that, hey, I don't deserve that. That's unnecessary. I don't need that. So I'm good on you, and without any residual feelings about whatever it is. Also, since we've been here, we are finding healers, and we've been doing some sessions, some intuitive sessions, some natal chart sessions, a lot of sessions. And they've provided some insight on myself, and so I'm committing to the next 6 months of committing to myself. I'm signing up for a Tantra workshop to help channel some of my energies.
That's so cool. I'm excited. I wanna do that at some point too.
Yeah, I feel like this is a good time to focus on myself, and I'm telling you and everyone else listening so that I could actually do this shit. And
You guys are our accountability partners.
literally.
I mean, honestly, no, it's the truth. I think a lot of the things that I've done or we've done together on this podcast, and even like I just launched a wellness challenge today. Actually, it starts today, and I posted about it on Instagram. A 30-day challenge. I'm really doing it because you guys make it's like the best tribe ever to just hold each other accountable. Like if you guys are posting pictures, I'm gonna keep doing it, even if I'm lying sometimes. And I ate that whole pint of Ben and Jerry's half-baked ice cream, but that might happen. But yeah, I mean, this is the best place. I'm so grateful for like us having the space for people to hold us accountable and hold ourselves accountable, because we're saying things on this mic every week, and we're like,
Or every year.
every year,
Or
yeah.
every year. I've literally said this every year. But this time I'm serious. If I'm in a deep relationship 8 weeks from now, somebody slap me. If you see me in public holding hands, I give you all the permission.
I think that going back to school, oftentimes, obviously our kids if you have kids, they're probably back in school right now. But I don't know why at some point we decide that like schooling is over. I think that because
We're not
obviously the
obligated.
education system is not great all the time. People are put in this system and expected to all learn the same way, which is fucking ridiculous. And that's why so many people end up hating school and not really tapping into like what their real purpose is, because school doesn't really teach you that. It just teaches you a bunch of just I don't even know, general shit that I didn't even need to know. But the idea of being an adult and being able to tap into yourself and figure out what it is that you're interested in, what it is that you want to work on, if you want to take a tantric class, if you want to, go back. My shout out to my girl Ashley. She just got into like Harvard online. She's about to take a course and going back to school online. Like, there's just so many ways to kind of explore what your interests are as an adult. And I think it's really important, not only for, your own well-being, but also just for your kids. For us, it's like, I think this retreat has really inspired me too. And meeting so many people here that have, being in Costa Rica, people are quiet. They have time to kind of really decide what fulfills them, and it's like, I think being here again always brings me back to that. That's why I love this place so much.
It is a very magical place, and it is a place of like quietness and expansion. I feel like we've met a lot of people who have tapped into their natural abilities, and in some ways it kind of gives us permission to do the same. Like, what am I good at? What do I want to learn? Like, what naturally are my powers? And obviously we have this brand, and we talk a lot, but I don't think we even ourselves give ourselves enough credit in the fact that we are good at leading. We're good at being unapologetic sometimes. And being here is kind of like, it's reassured me to kind of sit back in myself and like reflect truly on my intentions with people and relationships, as a parent, with my daughter, and really to myself, and like in every little way, like in the flings that I have, and in the just the friendships, my words. I feel like people here are like really intentional about their words. Like, I don't feel like doing that, and no. And like, people are comfortable
saying no, and also saying yes.
And even, I think, even for you and I, we've had, obviously we're best friends and we talk about a lot of stuff, but I feel like even in this trip traveling with our children, and the one thing about parents is we're going to be sensitive as fuck about our parenting, about our children. That's not something you really discuss about, you know, you have discussions about, but I think even we've been vulnerable more in a space to be like, wow, like, this is, I'm scared of this in my parenting. Do you notice this? And like, yeah, I do, and this is triggering because of that, and like, even in all spaces, and sometimes that's not a comfortable, even with someone you're close to as a friend, is not a comfortable thing to discuss, you know? But we've had even those conversations, and it's interesting how being in a certain environment can contribute to how you are and who you are and the people you keep around you, because this place has really, 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 really brought some lessons to the forefront for me.
Oh, me too, for sure. Especially as a parent and how I can support my child in her development and working through certain things that maybe I noticed were there for sure, but have been even more highlighted on this trip. Like really also seeing the differences in our kids and like how one thing won't bother one where the other one is super affected, and you know, it's just been really enlightening, but also kind of terrifying a little bit, because I realized that I do have shit to learn about parenting. I do have shit to learn about leading my daughter in the right way, in the most appropriate way. You know, we had this guest on that's coming on next week, and she's an astrologer. I can't wait for you guys to hear this episode. She actually read me and Jamilah's natal charts while we were here, and then we asked her to come on the show and read our kids' natal charts so that we could, you know, learn how to better parent them based on, you know, certain things that we might not even realize are just innately part of who they're destined to be, and what their soul path is. But within that, realizing that me and Irie are very different in ways, and you know, we've been having kind of a struggle lately with certain personality issues, and she's been having issues vocalizing like what is wrong whenever she gets upset, versus where Luna is very vocal and can tell you like, that hurt my feelings, I don't like that, you know. And I was telling the astrologer, and she was basically telling me how I could support my child more. And literally, like, I was asking her like what was wrong. She was like, have you ever asked her like, what can I do to make you feel more loved? And I literally asked that to Irie today, and she responded immediately.
What she said?
Whereas before I was wording it as what's wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Like, tell me what's wrong, and she wouldn't say shit. She just said, I need you to be nicer to me. And I said, okay, I'll be nicer to you, but also you have to be nicer to me. And so we were talking about, and actually it's funny that it's not funny because everything that we do is somehow aligned in where we are at, but I was telling her, I was like, well, this is something you have to work on. This is something we're working on together. And then I went around the table and I asked Jamilah, like, what are you working on right now? Luna, what are you working on right now? Because these are questions that, like, we don't ask our kids.
Right.
And, like, we should.
Right. And they need to know that you're working on stuff.
Yeah, and it doesn't always have to be an emotional working on something. Like, they're 6, right? But sometimes there does. It does. Like, hey, so Irie's working on, like, communicating in a more, you know, positive way and not, you know, being demanding and being courteous. Like, the child I know that she is capable of being and is when she's not with me for some reason. Like, when she goes to school, I get these stellar reviews of how kind and humble and sweet she is, and she is all those things. But sometimes she gets in the zone where she is like, she's just not thoughtful with her words, and that ain't gonna fly. So, but as a parent, I'm like, well, fuck, how do I work on? How do I? Like,
and then Luna was like, you need to tell Irie to talk nicer and to do this and to that. And then Irie got upset, and then I was like, they were crying and I was crying.
We were all crying. I was crying. It was just like, because like Irie did say, she's like, that really hurts my feelings. Like, that hurt my feelings, Luna. And I told Luna, and I was listening to Luna because Luna was right. She was right, but it also wasn't really the way she said it. I could feel Irie felt attacked, you know, and it wasn't constructive at all. It wasn't being constructive, even though I know Luna, like, she had good intentions, but she was also like she was also kind of like trying to help me a little bit. She was, and you know, I don't know. It's just
such a testimony of we're all very different people. I'm very different from Irie. You know, me and Luna are similar, but still very different people. She checks me all the time, and it's just like we're never done growing. We're never done learning, even from the small souls in our life. I'm like, that's the biggest lesson. Like, they are just people that came through us. Like, you know, we can influence them. They're growing up in certain environments. We're trying to, you know, obviously lead them to love and like kindness. But overall, they are their own people. And it's just like, no matter how me I am and how Erica is, like, we're all very different. You know, Ivory follows rules. She's not fucking around about the rules. We're all kind of break rules a little bit. She's very strict in who she is. You know, she knows who she is. And it's just an interesting lesson. And obviously we're having a great time, but I'm happy that this is the chapter I'm in right now, that I'm just paying more attention and being more present and intentional, and, you know, understanding that everything in life is a lesson. My child, your child is a lesson to me. I'm triggered by her sometimes, and it's making me, you know, check myself, and also like things I didn't get in my childhood. I'm just taking accountability and noticing when I'm triggered by things, exploring why, being more conscious of like how I talk to Luna and support her, and just really being conscious of not brushing off children's feelings, because that's what I'm used to. That's what I'm used to from my childhood. And like, I realized that like children being really catered to and coddled sometimes is a trigger for me, because maybe I wasn't given that privilege. Like, that wasn't the upbringing that I was supported in, really. And
do you think I coddle Irie?
no, it's me. It's like not even coddle, but like, if I like, that's just, I didn't get that childhood, like, at all. So like, I noticed, even not even just like with you and I, even with other people, like, and I know it's my own personal experiences, it's my own trauma. It's not like, it makes me uncomfortable, but that's because I wasn't supported in that way. And I have to check myself, even with Luna, because she is 6, and she is sassy and she is mature, but she's still 6. And sometimes I forget that, because again, I'm used to a certain thing, and you would think like I'm 33, like how long ago is that? But it still is something that I realize more now than ever, that that's why it's triggering for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think this trip has really highlighted that parenthood is like, it has all these stages, and I feel like I'm just like entering this new stage where, like, yeah, my daughter does have feelings. She's very like, she's resilient in her feelings, but there's a level of like, it sticks more now. You know what I mean?
Their memory isn't.
It sticks more. The hurt sticks more. The things you say stick more. Whereas before, you could kind of brush off their feelings a little bit.
Yeah, like, yeah.
I don't want to. It sounds irresponsible, but like, you could kind of get away with some shit.
Because they forget.
Right, because they're like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
But like, no, it's like, no. Now I'm starting to see the remnants of like me assuming that she's gonna forget and her not forgetting. Right. You know, not that I'm like intentionally doing that, but I don't know. And then also, like, how do I support her? How do I like work on her attitude? Like, how do I make her super aware of her attitude without like traumatizing her and making her feel bad about herself, like she's not a good person, or like she's a problem. She's the problem one of Luna and her. Mm-hmm. Like, she's the one who's always getting called out, and like even with the food thing, you know what I mean? Like, it's so annoying. My daughter is still like not eating anything. It's very fucking irritating, and every dinner it's acknowledged, and it's like I realize that like that's not I have to acknowledge it at times, but also like it's not helpful to keep making her feel bad about it. Like,
it's not necessarily fixing
but I
the
don't know how to
problem.
fix it, and so like I don't know. I'm hoping this month really, whether it's on the podcast or not, it's one thing that I really want to like talk to some other parents that are older, that have older children that have gone through these type of behavioral issues and, you know, just different things. My daughter's gone through a few things over the past few years that I don't think I really considered how they've affected her.
Well, I think just in general, we haven't really, the culture is not necessarily to think of a child's, like, the psychology of a child, how impressionable they are, the trauma, even if we don't consider it trauma, like, that's not our our background, you know. Like, I know people who've been in therapy since they're like children, and that's normal in their households. That's not necessarily like the norm. Because even you made a comment this trip that there was a time like your mom would bring up certain things and you could not talk. I felt like there was the same thing in my household. Like, we would bring up stuff and I just couldn't. I would just cry, like literally just cry. And I thought about that too, not feeling like you can literally talk. You just have all this emotion. All that,
It's just
emotion, and it's just like at the drop of a dime, you could just burst out into tears. And how much, you know, I talk a lot and I talk about here, but I do struggle with like when things get like super deep about myself. I'm like, I don't necessarily want to talk about it, especially not with like most people. Like, it's maybe like 3 people, and like it just, it's not healthy. And if we don't check ourselves down, or we don't relearn and reprogram those things, like, we'll just create the same shit in ourselves, you know, our kids that have been created in us. And I'm grateful that we are in the position to kind of just be open to it, you know. Like, I'm happy I'm Luna's mom. Like, she's feisty, she dances, like, you know, some people will say shit like she's twerking and all these things, but I let her live because I know she's mimicking what she sees. But also, I'm happy I'm her mom because I can teach her to channel that. I can teach her like to not be ashamed, or not to, you know, let other people tell you what that means for you, you know. And I know I wasn't given that space, and who knows how that's like blocked me in ways.
Life's lessons, guys. Life's lessons.
The next 6 months and the rest of this month for sure are just commitment to life's lessons and being open to learn them and recognize them, and not thinking you're too old or too grown to return back to school in some way, form, or remedy.
Absolutely. And I'm excited for this month too, and seeing all the things that we end up learning. Next week's episode is really intriguing and interesting, and I learned a lot. And we have some cool things happening the rest of the month, so make sure that you stick around and go back to school with us, and let us know, like, maybe you have been considering, you know, learning something or going back to school.
Share. I always love to know what other people are learning. I want to learn too. I'm with all the learns.
Yeah, and if you have any cool courses, share them.
Share them. Like, we're in a time where we can literally have access to anything.
It's so interesting. Like, there's Tantric courses, there's Reiki healing courses, there's courses on, you know,
breathwork courses.
There's courses on like how to build a website, how to market for your business, or whatever. Like, there's so many different things, and so that's the beauty of the internet in 2021, is that there literally is an influx of courses. Make sure you check who's making the courses, but you know, they're there.
Whoever calls you.
If you guys haven't yet signed up for our retreat, to be the first to know all the details of when it is happening, because those details will be coming out next week. We have finalized the actual days here in Costa Rica. We've also finalized the location, which is very exciting, as well as a few other, you know, people that were going to be contributing and facilitating some beautiful and amazing experiences for you guys. So make sure you go to our website, goodmomsbadchoices.com, and click the retreat tab, put your email in and be the first to know when all the info goes live. Anything else, my love?
Nothing. I'm just excited to commit to the next 6 months up until the retreat to just being better and being my more full learned self. And I hope everybody else is doing the same. Slide in our DMs and tell us how.
Tell us how, and join the Get Your Shit Together challenge.
I think we should continue these up until February. I didn't like you could get your shit together challenge.
No, it starts in September, but the hope is that you don't just fucking stop in October. That would be fucking dumb, because you're gonna be feeling so good by the end of September if you just do these 7 things that I listed. I know, because I've done them, and then I fall off, and then I feel like shit again. So, if you're a patron, I posted the details. If you follow us on Instagram, I posted the details. We're starting today. If you're listening to this and it's a week into September, it's all good. Just start now. Buy that gallon of water and start drinking that shit.
Train your bladder.
Think of an affirmation. We want you guys to write down an affirmation a day. If you have a journal, write in there. And, try to wake up a few minutes early, especially if you have kids. I know it sucks. It doesn't sound fun, but you get used to it. And honestly, the morning quiet, some of us don't have like the luxury of a babysitter or our homeschooling. Wake up earlier and have those few early 30 minutes to yourself and do whatever the fuck you want. Get off your phone though. And yeah, so go check that out, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
I'm a that bitch. I'm a that bitch. I'ma read that bitch. I'ma school that bitch. I'ma take that bitch to college. I'ma give that bitch some knowledge.